Welcome, Reprezent Radio. 4:16 right now. But yes, as I said earlier, she is in the building and I'm absolutely happy that she's here. We postponed. We made sure that today was solid. She didn't book any flights for today and she's here in the building. The Essex Barrister, Alexandra Wilson. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on it. Come closer to the mic so we can, hear you properly. Yes. As I said off air, we connected via LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Connected via LinkedIn. I messaged you and I was like, no, this is amazing. This is an incredible story. Why don't more people know about this, etc., etc. And I always feel like when I have a platform like this, I always try to just shed light on people that are just doing incredible things in and around the world. So for me, it was just important for me. This is before you even went viral and everything like that. So I got your book. I started to read it. I think by the end of the week, I'll definitely be finished and done. And
you've been saying that for a while, haven't you?
No, I actually mean to read it. It's just that I was on a book already when I bought it. I finished that book and I started yours. So I was like, all right, cool. Now it's your time. I was reading it, listening to all the interviews that you've done on air and just literally just doing my own research. I love research. I love finding out new things about people. Just the start of the book was so captivating. The moment when your dad walks in, sits down and you're studying. And that moment is so like thrilling because we put ourselves as readers, as audiences, that people that have read your book will know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you can get it on Amazon. So it's not like
thank you, Sam.
Of course. And you set the scene, you set the tone, you set the course of what led you to choose law. Mm-hmm. And since then, I just wanted to say I want to commend you for doing what you're doing, being great. You've influenced a whole new generation who probably feel like now they can actually take up law and take it seriously in this country, which is important. And obviously being black, being mixed race, obviously, and coming from where you come from, understanding that this is a walk that you've decided to walk because Ayo, your friend who passed away, has now just, given you this platform now. And now you're here to stay and obviously encourage other people. How does that make you feel?
I mean, to be honest, I feel honoured that people even look to me as a role model. It's a big deal. I just want people to realise that they can do it too. I think when I was younger, when I was a teenager, when I was kind of even into my early 20s, I didn't really see many people looking like me, and I wanted to be a lawyer.
Did that bother you?
Yeah, it did, to be honest. It really did bother me. I think, it's hard going into a profession where everyone you see is a white, older man. People don't sound like me. Although one of my friends told me I sound a bit posh on the radio the other day. So I'm hoping that I don't come across too posh now. But, people, it didn't feel like there was anyone that I could really relate to. And exactly. I think that was something I found quite difficult. It was kind of seeking out those role models. And it puts a lot of pressure on them as well, to try and give work experience to people like me, who just wanted to find someone who resembled something that they knew, you know?
Is, to you, based on your opinion, based on the years that you've spent on this, studied, now officially a barrister, do you think that law is a dying profession?
A dying profession?
Yeah. Because as you just explained now, there isn't that much people that looked like you in it. But do you feel like, is it something that's changing? Is it something, because we don't know the inner workings. Me in the entertainment side, things always change. It's a cycle. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I think, law will always be there, right?
Yes, it's needed.
In my view, it's needed. But I definitely think it's a profession that's changing.
Yeah.
Hopefully for the better.
Was it popular to you when you was growing up? Was it one of those, them popular courses that people take on?
Yeah, I mean, I think, no, it wasn't, to be honest. I think that I didn't know many people that did want to study law. I think lawyers, we've always seemed pretty cool, right?
No, for real, you have. The way you've been able to retain knowledge is always, it's a skill in itself.
But, no, I'm joking. But, I think, I just think it was a career path that didn't seem open to many people. Everyone knows lawyers are there and you know that you need them when you get in trouble or when you have some kind of dispute, but I don't think people really properly considered it as a profession. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying about not seeing people who look like you in that profession. So you might just think it's closed off to you. You might just think you have to have gone to a certain type of school or you have to have known people in the profession. That was something I really worried about. was like, I don't know any barristers. How do I get work experience? Because we have such an informal system of work experience where, it's getting better, but often it's through people you know. And I didn't know anyone. So, I do think it's changing. I think at the junior end, we're starting to see more diversity. There's a long way to go with the senior end.
Yeah.
I think looking at the most recent statistics of QCs, so Queen's Counsel, the most senior barristers, only 1.1% of them are black,
wow.
which is, really low.
Very low.
And they're the most senior barristers, and it's a really similar number of judges. Yeah. So again, when you're looking at 1% of judges being black, there's a problem in the profession when the senior end is just not reflecting society.
Did you have any fear releasing this book? Because you're very vulnerable in this. You're very open. Your thoughts are, your words leap out. So definitely your opinion, I'm like I agree. But can you get away with what you're saying?
Yeah, did
you have any?
I did. I think I was quite nervous of how the profession would react.
Yeah.
Particularly as I'm calling out certain parts of the profession. I'm saying that the profession is not diverse enough. I'm saying that we have a lot of work to do. And I'm very aware that I'm very junior. I am, in my chambers, we have a list on the door of all the tenants in chambers, so everyone who's in chambers.
Yeah.
And, I'm right at the bottom of that list because I'm the most junior person.
Yeah.
I'm the newest, the youngest person, the newest person to join chambers. So I'm aware of how junior I am. But I think that was kind of my point, that actually I'm coming to this. I'm not setting myself out to be a QC or the top of the profession. What I'm saying is that this is my perspective as someone who's recently joined the profession. Walking into the profession, this is what I see. This is, in my first 2 years, what I've picked up on. And I hope that, in my book and in my interviews, I hope that's clear to people, that actually I can give them the insight of what it's like to join the profession, what it's like to kind of take your first steps in court.
Any up and coming lawyers out there that are looking into the profession? Alexandra Wilson is here. You can get me on the socials as well. She'll be here for quite some time. We do have her. She doesn't have to run off to a case just yet. We're going to get into some more. Trapped in a Matrix concept. That was quite... It's nice to see how you wrote that, because we'd already feel that was the brush that people would have painted us with.
Absolutely.
But we're going to get into a bit of that later on, because it is mentioned in your book. But let's get into Burner Pop in here on Reprezent Radio. As I said before, reach me on the socials if you have any questions for Alexandra Wilson. Alexandra Wilson is still in the building. And we're going to start off here. So you was on LBC with David Lammy, and you also appeared on Good Morning Britain with Suzanne Reid and Piers Morgan about the incident that happened the other day that went viral.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because that happened, I think, on the same week you was actually supposed to come up here. And that happened. So for anyone that it's fine. It's absolutely fine. For anyone that may not have known what actually happened to you, do you mind just glossing over that briefly, what actually happened?
Yeah, absolutely. So that week I'd attended a magistrate's court to represent my client. And in the magistrate's court, just for context, we don't wear wigs and gowns, so I know you probably have seen photos of me with my wig and gown, but we just wear a smart suit. And that day I was mistaken for being a defendant multiple times. So first by the security, who asked what my full name was so that he could tick me off the list of defendants. Then by the court inside the courtroom as I went in, by another solicitor or barrister. Again, like I said, we wear suits, so it's hard to tell the difference. But they told me to leave the courtroom and wait outside for the usher to sign in for my case. And then in the same courtroom, the court clerk, the legal advisor to the magistrates, who shouted at me to get out of the courtroom, and asked whether I was represented. And for the third time that day, I explained, the third time to a professional, I explained that I was the representative. And, that experience was kind of compounded by the fact that, a member of the public told me not to go into the courtroom because journalists weren't allowed in there. And the key point was not so much me being, you should recognize me as a lawyer. That's not really the point. The point was that all of these people that day had assumed that I was a defendant, despite me being dressed like everyone else, me carrying my laptop like all the other lawyers. There were obvious signs that actually I was the lawyer, but they'd looked past that and assumed that I was a defendant no doubt because of the colour of my skin, because there were plenty of, white solicitors and barristers walking into the courtroom, leaving the courtroom at the same time. And I was the only one that was constantly challenged. Like, I was challenged so many times. So that experience, I tweeted about it that day. I tweeted about it like literally after my case finished.
Yeah.
And that picked up. So yeah, then that's why I was on.
That's not the first time that's happened to you, is it?
No, not at all.
It's happened on multiple occasions.
Yeah, multiple occasions. I think the reason I tweeted about it on that occasion was because of how many times it had happened.
Yeah.
It happened so many times on one day, and I genuinely felt exhausted, and that's why I put in the tweets. But no, it's happened on a number of occasions. It's happened to a lot of my black colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened to a lot of black solicitors that I know. And the essence of it is that the reason that this is happening is because black people are being over-criminalised. Yeah. Like that's the key point here. It's not that, we all want to be recognised for our roles. That's kind of besides the point. The point is that why is the assumption that if a black person's in court, they must be the defendant? And that's because black people are being fed into the criminal justice system at a disproportionately high rate. Yeah. So that's what I've been trying to highlight.
Have you lost faith in the quote-unquote system?
No, is the simple answer. I haven't lost faith. Otherwise, I'd be wasting a lot of my time.
Yeah.
I do think there's a lot of work to be done, though. I definitely haven't lost faith, but I do think we all need to pull together. And when I say we all, that doesn't just mean, black barristers, black solicitors, black judges. Actually, it takes our white counterparts to step up too. Yeah. And recognise that some of this disproportionality needs to be, or not some of it, all of it needs to be challenged. And we've already talked about, we're underrepresented in the profession. So that's why we need our white colleagues to step up too. It needs to be a whole profession speaking out about this.
Of course. Producer Liv said I should stop fanning over reading a few parts on the book and actually let you explain about your book that you have out right now in black and white. Please take it. just let us know about your book and why you decided to write it.
Yeah, of course. So I wrote the book during my pupillage year, so my year in training, my first year on the job. And throughout the book, I talk about, some of my clients' experiences, anonymised, of course. I talk about some of my own personal experiences. And I talk about the court system more generally, my interactions with other barristers, some of the comments that I received, positive and negative. But I guess the key point was to kind of highlight what it's like to be a young black female barrister in a profession that is still largely dominated by white, very middle class men. And to highlight how I think that the lack of diversity in the profession negatively affects, the people being fed through that system. Yeah. And so I hope that some of the stories that I put in there really highlight why it's so important to have a mix of barristers and why it's so important to have diversity in our profession. Yeah.
We're going to get into a little game a bit after. We're going to play a song. But before we play a song, I wanted to ask this question before we go into that. Chapter the Matrix, I mentioned that before we went into the first song. That whole complex, and I say, would you put this down to laziness from government/police to not decipher which is whom?
In my view, it's more than laziness. It's a bias at the end of the day. It's probably even more than a bias. It's racism. The Trapped in the Matrix report. There's a report done by Amnesty International. And it shows that 78% of people on the Met's matrix are black. 78%. That is so ridiculously high. And the report shows that, indicators of, to give everyone some context of what this matrix is, this is the gang matrix. This is the database that the police use to allegedly identify, gang members and, people who belong to gangs. So it's extremely worrying that 78% of the people on that are black. Mm-hmm. And when Amnesty International did their report on it, they found that most of the identifying factors that the police were using were actually just associated with, you know, culture and nothing to do with criminality. And that's where the problem is. You know, it's the fact that there are actually indicators that are, you know, things that are associated, with black culture are being used as almost like synonyms, like, you know, the same thing as indicators of crime. And so it's hardly surprising then that we then end up with, you know, black people being over-policed by the police. Something does need to change. So yeah, I would say it's a lot more than laziness. It's a really serious problem.
Yes, she is here. I do have one more question, but we're going to get into that after, and then we're going to play a nice little pop quiz that we made especially for you. Here's Pot of Paper around here on Reprezent Radio.
You're listening to Samuel Eni on Reprezent Radio.
You're probably wondering why I'm laughing. It's because producer Liv just ran. Oh, she's hilarious. I love Liv. She's amazing. There's this particular question, because here's a question I wanted to ask you. So 2020 has been a year to remember with everything that's gone on. One in particular was the BLM, the movement, the protests, how it started, how it galvanized everyone across the world, and how that impacted everyone, really and truly, how they felt like they needed to do their protests in their own cities and come together and just be like, you know, we've had enough. And with that impact, again, we don't know what happens in the law or what goes out, because obviously, why would we? Do you know what I mean? With that happening, were there talks of new laws coming into place, laws being changed?
I mean, so most laws go through Parliament, right? So I wouldn't be party to any of those discussions. It's the first thing.
Yeah.
But obviously there's case law that can change. So, you know, laws that change through lawyers taking cases to the higher courts. I think there's definitely been a degree of momentum in that. I think people are more aware of, you know, racial discrimination, racial bias. I think people are a lot more aware than perhaps they'd previously been. Whether or not there's case law changing, I'm probably not the best person to ask, because my area is, you know, crime and family, and a lot of that would fall under Equality Act stuff and human rights, which, you know, is an area in and of itself. There will also be, you know, employment discrimination. There's so many areas of law that are undoubtedly will be touched by this, undoubtedly. Whether or not it changes law, probably more difficult to say.
Yeah.
We'll watch this space.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being on here. I mean, I feel like we've covered a lot. Definitely, I think you should tell people about your book and where they can get it.
Yes, thank you so much, Samuel.
Yeah, because I'm sure I'll get an email from your PR and be like, why did you say that?
Yeah, so my book, In Black and White, you can get it from all major retailers. Also Amazon, they are probably a major retailer, aren't they?
Yeah.
But, you know, you can get it from all bookstores as well. So Waterstones, Foyles, WH Smith, and you can also get it from some independent bookstores. And if you look on my social media, I've posted some black owned bookshops as well, so if you can, please do support those too.
Thank you, Alexandra Wilson, everyone. But before she goes, she has to play this pop quiz especially designed for her. Did I just say especially? You know what, yeah, the cameras are recorded. This is going to go up on my Instagram because, Sam, what is going on? Especially designed for her. Yeah.
This is Sam's Pop Quiz.
So with this time around, we've decided to just switch things up. We've got about 8 questions in total, 10 for the bonus round if we get through them in time, and you have to answer these questions within a minute.
Okay. Oh gosh.
Yeah, I know. Pressure's on, right? Pressure's on. It's all about law.
Oh dear.
So yeah, we were trying to see how best we can not make you trip up, but let's give you some easy ones and give you some hard ones.
Okay.
Things that we assume that you would know.
Oh dear, that's even worse.
Yeah. So are you ready?
Okay, go on.
Okay, cool.
Can I just remind everyone that as lawyers, we can look in law textbooks if we don't know something.
All right, cool. She's ready.
The game begins in 3, 2, 1.
In which country is it illegal to own only one goldfish?
Oh my god! I have no idea. Oh my god, one goldfish. Jeez.
Have a guess. Take a wild guess.
Dubai.
Switzerland.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
In which country is it against the law to not walk your dog at least 3 times a day?
Oh my god, this is so bad. Okay, three times a day. Oh, which country loves dogs? I mean, my mum's dogs are Greek, so I'm going to say Greece.
Incorrect. The answer is Italy, Turin.
Really?
To be precise.
Oh,
Yeah.
it wasn't as far away as I thought.
Yeah, you weren't that far.
Pretty close.
In
You're right.
Samoa, it is illegal to forget which family member's birthday.
Your mum's.
No, your wife.
Oh.
Yeah, we're gonna continue.
Okay.
Because I clearly
0 out of 3 so far.
so far. I mean, these are pretty hard. Yeah. Which Canadian town has outlawed climbing trees?
Oh my god, I don't even know any Canadian towns. Okay. Does cities count? Does Toronto count?
Yeah.
Okay, Toronto. Okay.
Yeah, it's Ontario.
That would have been the other one I knew. Would have.
Which country was banned wearing camouflage clothing?
Banned.
Yeah, wearing camouflage clothing.
Please don't start the countdown.
No, I won't give you the countdown. I'll just pay a normal bid.
Camouflage clothing.
Yes. It begins with a B.
Brazil.
No, I'm going to give you another guess.
Okay.
Rihanna's from there.
Barbados. Okay, 1.
Yeah.
Yes.
There we go. A nice little assist from Sam. Why not?
Thank you.
Which fruit is banned on public transport across many Asian countries?
Oh, is it the one that smells? I do know this one. It's really annoying, and it's like spiky on the outside. Do you want to give me that?
It begins with a D.
I don't know.
Drain.
I don't think I knew the name of that one, but I feel like I get that point. At least half.
Half, yeah?
Okay, half.
Should we give her half? Let's give her half. In which state is it illegal to fart after 6 p.m. on a Thursday?
Oh my god, which state?
Yeah.
In America?
Yeah.
Oh, Texas.
No.
I said that with
Guess
such
again.
confidence,
Guess
didn't
again. It's hot. Begins with an F.
With an F.
Yeah.
Florida.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the
Wait,
one.
that's not a real law, surely.
Apparently so it is. Apparently so it
Fact
is.
check. I'm really not sure about these.
Name 7 different law practices.
Okay. Crime.
Yeah.
Family.
Yeah.
Commercial.
Yeah.
Clinical negligence.
Okay. Yeah.
Personal injury.
Yeah. 5. 2 more.
Human rights.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, immigration.
Yeah.
Hey. If I got that one wrong, that would have been more a worry.
I'm gonna give you one bonus one because
Okay.
our time is done.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this one will be quite interesting. Which Belgian law is said to have enabled a Paris terror attack suspect to escape?
I have no idea, but
Yeah.
I'm actually interested to know.
A legal ban on conducting police raids between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I'm going to
Yeah.
look that one up.
Yeah, thank producer Maya for these questions.
Thank you.
Yeah. I did say, Maya, these will be a bit hard for her.
I mean, I think I did quite well. 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5. See, Maya,
I mean,
next time.
That is a skill.
You need to give some assists sometimes, you know? Say some easy ones. Like the name the 7 law practices, that was nice.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I feel like I should have got 7 for that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I got
To be honest, we might
8.5,
actually.
right?
Yeah, we might have to give you that one, to be honest.
Yeah,
Because the
see?
others was just really hard. I'm not going to lie, the farting after 6 p.m., that was funny.
I feel
One-
like that one is definitely not right. Shock.
Yes.
It was
I
Sam
loved
that chose that one.
I just found it funny. It was just hilarious.
Oh, thank you so much for having me there.
No, honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure. This will be out on YouTube, so I'll be sending it over to you as well.
Thank you.
What's in store for you next?
I mean, in life, in my evening,
Life.
you know, life. I think.
Are you doing a book tour?
I hope, hopefully I will.
Yeah.
COVID has,
Yeah.
ruined a few plans.
You know, I
but,
say COVID, right?
Do you?
Yeah, I say COVID. People get onto me all the time for saying COVID. Honestly.
Yeah, I'm gonna say COVID.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm hoping to get out and about a bit more, continue working hard on my practice, doing the thing I love. But yeah.
Okay, cool. Where can we find you? Where can we follow you?
You can follow me on socials, on Twitter and Instagram at essexbarrister.
Did you come up with that?
I did.
Yeah.
It's unique.
Yeah, it is. It is. I was just wondering, why didn't you go with Alexandra Wilson? You just wanted to.
I just feel like, I'm proud to be from Essex. It was something I really worried about, kind of coming to the bar, being from Essex. And I thought, you know what? Sometimes the best way to deal with things you find difficult is to own them. And so I was just like, you know what? This is going to be my thing. Yeah, a gem.
All
Thank
right.
you, Sam.
Alexandra Wilson has been here with me on Reprezent Radio. Samuel Eni taking over each and every time. Nick Gibbons is up next. Make sure you stick around for that because he's got some bangers to play. I've been on here every Tuesday, 3 to 5 p.m. I'll be here next Tuesday with a special guest. And yeah, just more to come, man. More to come. Juice WRLD, wish him well. Thank you so much for listening.